Trump pleads not guilty to Georgia election subversion charges. Former US President Donald Trump pleaded not guilty on Thursday to a wide-ranging Georgia criminal indictment related to his attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat, according to a court filing. The plea means that Trump, the frontrunner for the 2024 Republican nomination, will not appear in person in Fulton County Court in Atlanta next week to face the charges. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has charged Trump with 13 felony counts, including racketeering for pressuring state officials to reverse his 2020 election loss and allegedly setting up a fake slate of electors to undermine the congressional certification of Democratic President Joe Biden's victory. The latest charges mark Trump's fourth indictment since launching his re-election campaign for president. As evidenced by my signature below, I do hereby waive formal arraignment and enter my plea of not guilty to the indictment in this case, Trump said in the court filing made in the Fulton County Superior Court on Thursday. Well, the circus is still going on. Let's see which clown ends up winning this particular show. It's such a sad circumstance for a first world country to be having this type of nonsense going on. Johannesburg fire, scores killed as fire guts rundown apartment block. A devastating fire tore through a 5-story Johannesburg apartment block, claiming about 70 lives and injuring 43 in one of South Africa's city's worst disasters, marked by poverty, household fires and homelessness. The charged building stood in a dilapidated neighborhood and was owned by the municipal authorities, who struggled to identify occupants. Some rooms might have been rented by criminal gangs, according to officials. Survivors recounted the chaos and darkness as they escaped the blaze. President Cyril Ramaphosa expressed hope that an investigation into the fire's cause would prevent future tragedies. Johannesburg inequality, poverty and housing crisis persist, with around 15,000 homeless people. Household fires are common, particularly in impoverished areas, exacerbated by power shortages. The fire's origins remains under investigation, highlighting the chronic housing issues affecting the region. This is a sad circumstance and a very unfortunate event to have taken place. Prayers to the people that have lost their loved ones and condolences to those families. 5 railway workers killed in Italy after being hit by a train. A high-speed train collision near a station in Italy has claimed the life of at least 5 railway workers, aged 22 to 52, who were replacing a track section near Turin. The incident occurred as an empty passenger train reportedly sped through Brandizzo station at 160 km per hour, where the workers were present. While 2 workers survived without injury, they were taken to a hospital for observation. The train's driver, treated for shock at the scene, is expected to be questioned about the accident later. The Italian railway network, RFI, expressed sorrow and condolences for the tragic event, extending sympathies to the victims' families. Local authorities are conducting an investigation to determine the cause of the collision, with potential communication errors being considered. It's unfortunate these people were just doing their job, and may they rest in peace. Condolences to their families as well. Super typhoon heads towards Hong Kong. China issues highest warning. China raised its highest typhoon alert as Super Typhoon Saola, boasting winds over 200 km per hour, threatened the southeastern coast, endangering Hong Kong and key manufacturing centers in Guangdong. A red typhoon warning was issued by Chinese meteorologists, predicting Saola, situated 315 km southeast of Guangdong, to gradually approach the coast at 10 km per hour and weaken. Winds at noon reached 209 km per hour and expected to make landfall from Huailai County to Hong Kong on September 1st. Saola might rank among Guangdong's top 5 typhoons since 1949. Hong Kong prepared for the impact by raising a number 8 strong wind signal, shutting businesses, schools and the stock exchange. Guangdong also braced for impact with suspended flights, train lines and strengthened measures against flooding. Hopefully people can get to safety and stay out of the way. It's just a prediction that the typhoon would weaken. We do not know, so let's hope it passes and it weakens and dissipates itself, hopefully. China's Xi likely to skip the G20 summit in India. Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to skip the G20 summit in India, with Premier Li Qiang likely to represent China at the meeting. The summit, scheduled for September 9th and 10th, had been anticipated as a potential platform for Xi to engage with US President Joe Biden amid strained trade and geopolitical ties. Russian President Vladimir Putin also announced his absence and will be sending Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov instead. The absence of Xi comes amid speculation about a meeting with Biden, with US officials visiting China recently. Despite Xi's limited overseas trips due to pandemic-related restrictions, he did participate in a BRICS meeting in South Africa. Notably, Xi's absence coincides with tensions arising from Russia and China opposing joint statements condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine in preceding G20 meetings. In my opinion, Xi is not attending the meeting because the things in China is getting really out of hand, and there's a very high possibility if Xi Jinping is not in China and starts leaving the country more often, a coup might actually just take place in China due to the extreme economic turmoil and the suffering that's taking place in the heartland of China. And many people are very unhappy, and if Xi is not within China, then it's very possible when he comes back he might just get arrested. So he's probably staying in China to maintain his stranglehold on power within the country, and that's most likely the reason he's no longer trying to leave the country, and he's probably just going to stay within his borders to strengthen his position as emperor. Philippines, Taiwan, Malaysia rejects China's latest South China Sea map. Several countries, including the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam, have rejected a map released by China that asserts its sovereignty over the South China Sea. China's map features a U-shaped line encompassing approximately 90% of the sea, which is a significant source of disputes and trade routes. The Philippines urged China to adhere to international law and respect a 2016 arbitration ruling that dismissed the legal basis for the line. Malaysia launched a diplomatic process emphasizing the map's lack of authority over its territory. Taiwan, considered a part of China by Beijing, refuted the claim and stressed its separate existence. Vietnam firmly opposes China's claims based on the map, which is considered violating Vietnamese and international laws. The release of the map has generated tensions and concerns among neighboring countries in the region. Again, China is just pushing its luck, and I think very soon it's going to cross the line, or it probably has crossed the line. It's even laying claim to the Himalayas and is having issues with India, and that's probably why that's also another reason why Xi is probably not attending the BRICS meeting in India. Xi's got lots of problems. Apple reportedly tests 3D printing to manufacture the new Apple Watch. Apple is experimenting with 3D printers to manufacture stainless steel chassis for its upcoming smartwatches, starting with the Apple Watch 9, as per sources cited by Bloomberg. If successful, this technology will be integrated into production of more products in the future. Currently, Apple crafts watch chassis by cutting metal slabs, a process the 3D printing approach aims to expedite while reducing material usage. The plan extends to the next version of the titanium-enclosed Apple Watch Ultra in the following year. However, the mass production of 3D printed aluminium enclosures for Apple's Mac and iPad range remains a challenge. Apple's goal, reaffirmed in 2022, is to eventually utilize recycled aluminium and steel for its enclosures, building upon the 59% recycled aluminium adoption reported in 2021. The other reason that Apple might be trying to do this is simply because most of their manufacturing in China is probably having major issues, and they probably have to bring their manufacturing out of China and move it locally into the United States or some other country, and in order to reduce costs, they're probably experimenting with 3D printing, which is a technology that seems to be improving at an exponential rate. Let's see how this goes. If this works out, then I'm sure many other companies will start following suit. The amount of Bitcoin on centralized exchanges plunges to 2 million. Bitcoin holdings on centralized exchanges have dropped by 4% to 2 million Bitcoins, marking a trend not seen since January 2018. This decline, totaling around 54.5 billion, has sparked debates about its implications. On one hand, it reflects increased market sophistication as users engage in direct trading using custodial wallets, bypassing exchanges. Services like Cooper Clearloop have contributed to the shift by reducing the significance of exchanges. However, recent crypto adopters rely on exchanges for ease of buying and storing cryptocurrencies. The reduction in BTC holdings on exchanges could also be viewed positively, as it indicates a decreased likelihood of whales transferring assets before significant sell-offs. Nonetheless, the decline may be linked to recent platform collapses and hacks causing substantial loss. The fall of FTX and the Terra ecosystem implosion are examples that eroded users' trust in exchanges. Researchers indicate that more crypto enthusiasts are adopting diverse custody solutions, with only 9% exclusively relying on exchanges for storage. If this trend continues, then Bitcoin would have fulfilled its goal of truly being decentralized and truly cutting out the middleman. And if everything moves to a decentralized exchange and everything is not done via a centralized exchange, then regulators clearly will not have any hope of trying to regulate the Bitcoin industry. And this is simply because regulators have not come out with clear regulation, and most people are now starting to wake up to the simple fact that you don't need an exchange to hold your Bitcoin, which is going to be regulated by governments. Therefore, everyone is now probably taking things into their own hands and being their own bank. This is actually a good thing, because The only way we are going to get change in this world is if we take away money from the government's hands and put it back into the average person. Thank you for listening to the end of the video. Please like, share and subscribe. I'll see you again tomorrow.